Hi, David Odell here with Odell Complete Concrete. We're going to be removing this driveway and making a massive driveway. About twice as big as the existing driveway. The porch is going to get widened all the way over to the hose spigot. We're going to get rid of this patchwork here where they replaced a water main at one time. The sidewalk separation there will be all one piece with the new concrete. We're going to take this driveway all the way to the property line. Right here we're painting out the outline of it. We're going to widen it that way about 10-12 feet, and then we're going to take it over the other direction a couple feet and smooth that radius out. Make it a little gentler turn into the garage. And because the neighbor's property is 6 inches higher, we're going to actually do a monolithic raised curb pour simultaneously with the driveway. And that'll retain that grass from slumping and getting water runoff onto this driveway. We have some massive trees down here in the parkway, and a lot of the roots have already went over and under this driveway. That's why it's all cracked up, and that's why the lawn is so raised. The roots are under there pushing everything up. So I brought in Carlos, demo expert. He runs a Super 10. And then he's got this New Holland, and it's a new machine, 2019. And it makes short work of this stuff. That breaker attachment there is actually designed for a backhoe. He's got it set up on this, and it just demolishes stuff real quick. And you'll get to see that how it runs. He just bounces it around and swings the tractor around. See how he's moving that? This entire project came out with 2 full loads. We did a load of concrete, and then we did a dirt, lawn, and a little bit of concrete in the second load. Everything was 2 loads. And then what we ended up putting back in here was 20 yards. 2 full cement truckloads. Since the garage entrance is perpendicular to the street and it's level across there, I'm going to have to create a little bit of a valley out about, it'll start at the corner of the garage and it'll go in about 10 feet towards the lawn. So it'll be a slight swell coming through there. That way the water drains away from the garage door and then out towards the street. Which means I'm going to have to cut a little bit of dirt out of here because the old driveway wasn't draining the way I like to drain them. Here's the porch, and it's a standard typical porch. It has a cantilevered edge on it, and it has a thickened edge all the way around the perimeter. Now here's where we start getting into all those roots from the Public Works Division. This is going to be a 2-part series. In this first part, we're going to show the entire setup, the radius form lumber, for that inside edge, and then also for the raised curb setup on the monolithic pour with the driveway. The rebar installation, the grading, compacting, getting ready to pour will be part 1. Part 2 of this is going to be the actual placement and the finishing technique, and we're going to be using a power trowel on this one. That way I can cut my labor force in half and get a good hard surface. We had a sprinkler right here we found, and it actually was coming from the neighbor's property, so we had to cut it back and cap it. Here's a couple, since we smoothed out that radius on the inside edge here, there were some sprinklers out here that we had to cut and move back. For the form lumber here, I'm using a 2 inch by 4 inch, but it's going to be virgin plastic from Plastiform. And what I've discovered, you've probably seen some of my other videos when I've used their fastening technique with the cam lock behind the plastic form, where you need about 6 inches overcut to actually get the cam lock in. Well, now I've came up with a new technique. I just drive a wood stake and slam a screw into the Plastiform, and that way I don't have to overcut. That seems to work really well. But right now what we're doing is we're setting back of curb faced. I'm just going to stack some 2x4s over here. I'm going to do the top form first on here, and then I'll just run some random underneath, random scrap, just to kind of hold back the concrete from blowing out and under from the form. Now where the curb meets the sidewalk, I'll just gently roll it down about 1 foot back. Now the height, to establish the height of that raised curb, I'm just using the neighbor's lawn as my point of reference for elevation. So once I get the inside in, I just throw it 2x6 on the inside at whatever elevation. The critical thing on the inside form here is not really the top, because I know the back is set to top of concrete, so the critical thing on the inside form is the bottom of it, since it's monolithic. So even if the top is higher than the 2x4 in the back, it doesn't matter, because we can hand float off of the back form straight across, and it's easy to eyeball it flat in a 6-inch span. So the only thing I'm considering setting that inside form is the bottom of the form for drainage purposes. Now here's that Plastiform I was talking about, 2 inch by 4 inch, and I got away from the cam locks because I didn't want to overcut the lawn 6 inches to get them in, and this worked beautifully. And I've used this particular form. They look new, but I've already used them on about 8 different jobs. Here's the plate compactor, and I kind of fine-tuned this with my mini skid on the grade, because it has that nice floating bucket. You just set it and forget it. We're going to tie a 3/8 rebar on 2-foot centers throughout this whole thing in both directions. We're going to have one right inside that curb face as well. There's the first bar. And when I set this up, I actually set the bar in there before I even set the inside face, because I've got all those top ties on there. Instead of having to feed it in from the end and fight it, I put the rebar in first and then build the forms around it. Now you can see this is a little deeper than your average driveway from the space underneath that 2x4. We're running a good 5.5 inches throughout. So this is great for, I mean, as big as this driveway, you can put an RV in here. Still have space for your passenger vehicles. Now on that bar on the inside radius, we just start tying it at one end and just curve it around with the shape of that form. That way we maintain about 3 to 6 inches space between the outside form and the next with the bar. So that's nice and straight, and it's set to the inside of property line wall because future plans is throwing in a potential picket fence behind that curb. Here's the rebar continuing underneath the step of the porch right into the porch. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like these kind of videos, make sure you subscribe. Please hit the like button and stay tuned for the next one. Have a good one.